you're really getting sick of this place. One day, what you say, what you do is fine and funny. The next day, nobody likes it and people are trying to kill you. You're really sick of the Feywild and ready to get back to the prime material. Hi there, I'm Dr. Megan Connell, and this is Psychology at the Table. In this episode, I am joined by professional clown, my friend, colleague, co-founder of Geeks Like Us and Clinical Role, Dr. Ryan Kelly.
Welcome to me. Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Slap hands?
Slap hands.
Yes. All right. Dr. Ryan is here today to talk to us about autism and Asperger's because that is one of his areas of expertise.
Yes, it is. That's true. Absolutely. Great to be here to talk about it.
Awesome.
Which one now?
So tell me a little bit about exactly what is autism and Asperger's?
So Asperger's is a form of high-functioning autism. It used to have its own name. Now it's been collapsed, but that's okay. We still call it Asperger's. And I like to say that it's kind of just a unique set of strengths and weaknesses. Aspies, which they do go by endearingly, tend to have a heightened intelligence. They understand usually how things work very well, which is why they tend to be so good with computers and programming. And they tend to have a very unique type of fiery passion that usually leads them to, compared with the other things, or paired with the other things, to be experts in their field. I know every single Pokemon, every single trait, every single algorithm that might affect the game, which is awesome. At the same time, it is a form of autism, so it does affect social interaction, of just us having this conversation, me smiling when you're smiling, me asking you how you're doing. Communication, which would be like nonverbal included, your facial expression, are you happy, are you sad? And as well, like repetitive and restricted interest or behaviors. And that could be things that you typically hear about, especially with lower functioning, like flapping or stimming. It could be saying the same phrase over and over, like I think I had that one I told the player is like, oh brother, now she tells me. Says it over and over, even when it's not befitting. But more often it's in the framework of a restricted or pervasive interest, like, man, that guy never stops talking about Magic the Gathering, or he only talks about Pokemon, to the point maybe you even say, I had a good weekend. He's like, Anyway, back what I was saying about the 7th generation, and it's kind of tough to get off. But I'd say the thing we say is, if you know one Aspie, you know one Aspie. There's so much variability. Yeah.
Okay. How might this present at the gaming table? So if you have a player who is on the spectrum, what might you see? Like, how can...
Yeah, that's a good... Okay, so the very first thing you'll see is social awkwardness.
Right. And
it can range between cringy and really endearing. But what that will probably present as is not understanding your nonverbals, their intonation and cadence of their voice might kind of be a little off. Like things just seem a little off, right? Again, not asking you a lot of questions. It might even come off a little like self-centered. It's not what it is. They just, something called theory of mind, of understanding others needing to be asked questions, is a little harder for them. So social reciprocity and social awkwardness, that can be one. The other is rigid thinking. And what we mean by that is kind of like rolling with the punches, being resilient to change, adapting to change. So in the game, it's, really strict adherence to rules. A lot of frustration with like ambiguity or lack of continuity with the structure of the game. And you might see some inner conflicts when it comes to like rule disputes or things of that nature. Or kind of like largely justice keepers too. Like, I feel like there's a sense of injustice. This is unfair.
Right.
And then it can be kind of tough for them to get off that. They kind of get in that perseverating loop where it's like, I can't stop thinking about this thing.
Yeah. So even though like you guys have moved on and an hour's passed, they're still stuck on this one call an hour ago or something.
Oh, it can happen if you got past it, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
If you were even able to get past it.
That's tough for the GM sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be some things that a GM could do to help a player if they get stuck or if they're having some problems, or just to be more accommodating and understanding?
So the first thing I would say is be patient and understanding. Sometimes Aspies, there's no issues. They're just kind of goofballs and kind of geeky, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And other times they can be a little abrasive, and again, it come off a little self-centered. So the idea is, don't take anything personally. Realize it might be a breakdown in communication, and that as a GM, as a DM, it is kind of your role to be able to foster that.
Right.
So that would be one. The other would be when you're presenting NPCs or any sort of context within the world, provide a lot of context. So for instance, if you got a tavern and you walk into a tavern, there's a bunch of seats and beer and everything, and the tavern keep comes out and says, "Oh yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's you and I would know, kind of frustrated,
Yep.
maybe agitated, maybe doesn't like us for some reason. Is it my race? Is it my class? Did something happen in the village?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to social problem solve.
Right.
Where an Aspie might be like, hello, and just, it escaped them. So as a GM, and obviously that's important in the game, right? So as a GM, to provide a little more context. So you go into the bar, oh, look what we have here. You can tell that this barkeep is frustrated. They are agitated. Something's going on here, and they don't like you very much, right?
Yeah.
Can provide a lot of help. And then the last I would say is when you are creating your game, to really be cognizant of the structure of it, of the rules of it, and that when we can expect conflict will arise.
Yeah.
That you have very structured ways of dealing with conflict resolution, rule disputes, whether it be between you and the player, or what might be a little different in the structure of how to handle it between the player and another player. Right?
So basically, like in a session 0, say like, look, we're humans, we're going to fight, we're going to have disagreements.
Oh my gosh.
When that happens, here's how we're going to handle it.
Dude, that session 0 is critical.
Oh, yeah.
Roll.
Yeah.
little critical. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. No, okay, that needs to happen. Any other resources so if someone's looking for some more information or more guidance, things that they can look for?
It's 19.
Your old 19 is not bad.
Pretty good. Yes. So, there's a lot of resources for like general autism, Autism Speaks, etc., Aspie Nation. But the ones that I would relate if you're a GM or if you're a player, one would be Game to Grow. And these are our friends, Adam. We do a lot of work with them. The Adams is. And Adam Squared. That's probably the better way to say it. And they're creating something called Critical Core. It's a campaign specifically meant for Aspies. They do a ton of work with social skill development like you and I do. And the other would be Geeks Like Us. Geeks Like Us.
Geeks Like Us.
Geeks Like Us.
Check us out.
Check us out.
We do things.
We do things and we have good times.
Yes. Lots of information.
Yeah, that's right. So those would be the two that I would recommend. And of course, if there's any questions, I have no hesitation responding on Twitter. I'm not great at it, and I'm only getting into it, but I'll be good to respond.
Yeah. And what is your Twitter handle?
Right. It's Dr. R. Kelly. That's okay. So Dr. R. Kelly. I'm going to switch it to Dr. Space Cowboy. I won it. I finally got it.
You got it?
So shoot me questions. I'm happy to answer them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully we can have you on again. If you have questions, of course, leave comments below or ask Dr. Ryan directly on Twitter. And as always, let's make space at the table for everyone.
14.